Over the next number of weeks, we're going to look together at the Belgic Confession. And the Belgic Confession is one of the three statements of faith that binds significant numbers of Reformed churches together around the globe. To give a little bit of background, it was written in 1561 by a pastor named Guido de Bray. He was a pastor in the town of Tournai in what is now southern Belgium. The confession of faith that he wrote was originally intended as an apologetic. It was meant to defend the members of the Reformed Church against the charge that they were just rebels who wanted to overthrow the government and do away with the teaching and authority of the Christian faith. De Bray accompanied his confession with a letter that he dedicated to King Philip of Spain, who was the ruler of the Low Countries at that time. And King Philip at that point was attempting to stop the spread of the Reformation in his territories through violent persecutions. And as a result of some of these persecutions, de Bray, for his trouble, was forced to flee the country, and when he returned a few years later, was arrested and hung as a traitor and a heretic. So the authorities were never moved by its plea for leniency, and yet the confession became popular in the Reformed churches of the Low Countries soon after its publication as a helpful summary of what they believed, and as a way of explaining the Reformation faith to their neighbors. It was a document that was originally written in French, but soon translated into Dutch, the other major language of the Low Countries, and was adopted on the national level by a synod that met at Antwerp in 1566. Beginning in the 1570s, churches in the Netherlands began asking pastors and other leaders to formally subscribe to, or kind of adopt as their own, the teachings and content of the Belgic Confession as a way of saying what they held in common as teachers of the faith. By the time the most famous synod of the Reformed churches met at Dordrecht, the Synod of Dort, in 1618, the practice of subscribing to the Belgic Confession was widespread. The Synod of Dort merely built on this, made it a universal practice for those churches stemming from its traditions, including our own church, the Christian Reformed Church today. The Belgic Confession consists of 37 articles. They're roughly arranged around the following topics: the Doctrine of God in Articles 1 to 13, the Doctrine of Humanity in Articles 14 and 15, the Person and Work of Christ in Articles 16 through 26, the Doctrine of the Church in Articles 27 to 36, and the Doctrine of the End Times in Article 37. As we look at it, we'll see that the Belgic Confession is definitely a product of its own time and circumstances, but it's something that has had staying power in the Church as a statement that expresses clearly and concisely what we believe sincerely and in good conscience, and what we can confess as those who want to follow the Savior together.